And that's my cue to start the show. Welcome to another edition of the Hard Rocket Sports Show, live from High Top Hard Rocket Sports Studios in beautiful St. Bernard, New Jersey. We are your 2-hour weekly get-together where we bring you all the biggest news from around the world of hard rock, heavy metal, of course, the wide world of sports. And thank you for tuning in, folks, on this Thursday, May the 29th in the year of our good Lord, 2025. And the unofficial start to summer is here. That's right. We just passed the Memorial Day weekend. Hope you guys had a good one. I don't think I could have been any less have accomplished any less on a weekend, on a 3-day weekend ever in my life. Oh boy, I did absolutely very zero. The only thing I did all weekend was go out to Staten Island to see my boy Jeff's band play. That is pretty much literally all I did. Otherwise, that was it. Yep, pretty much. Not too much other than that. But anyway, I hope you guys had a good holiday weekend. Let's remember why. Everybody talks about Memorial Day and start of summer, and it's barbecues, and it's all of this and that. And the real reason is we remember those who gave their life for the service of this country. And we always need to remember and remind people of that. And while we turn it into a celebration, and maybe we should, to celebrate those we've lost, who paid the ultimate sacrifice, we still need to remember that that's why. This is not a 3-day weekend, so you can go out and party or all of that. It's a day to it's a weekend of remembrance, and certainly a day of remembrance. So. Like I said, just keep passing that on to the younger generation and make sure they realize why we're out there celebrating on Memorial Day. So again, hope you guys had a good one. It was, like I said, was a pretty quiet one for me, and not a ton to talk about in the world of sports. OTAs are happening. I know the Giants have their OTAs. They're out there throwing the football around, which is always a good thing. So we'll talk a little bit about. We got some football. We got some basketball. Knicks game 5 tonight. I have a lot of issues with this Knicks team. It's talented, but it's like 5 separate guys on the court. I'll get more into it, but it is some of the most boneheaded, uninspiring, bad basketball you'll ever watch. There are 5 guys on the court who don't play together. Other than setting a bunch of high screens, they don't do anything else. It's like one guy gets the ball, he holds it till he has very little time left, and then he'll force up a shot, and it's usually Brunson or Towns, or they'll swing the ball to one guy, he'll take 5 or 10 dribbles, step back, and try to hit 3. It is the most unimaginative basketball I've ever watched. It's boring. When they're playing well, you can deal with it. But this team needs a point guard. This team needs a legit point. And Brunson's a heck of a basketball player. He's a fearless shooter. He's a terrible defender. Terrible. His nickname should be Turnstile because everybody passes by. So, there's a lot to talk about with the Knicks. They got game 5 tonight at the Garden. I think they'll win tonight. I think they're just going to have a hard time winning 3 straight against this team. I don't think the Pacers are very good, to be honest with you, but the Knicks they play into this team's hands. They try to run with them. They can't run with them. They can't outscore them. They need to settle it down, slow it down, and pound this team, and they can beat them. But, and I don't think it's impossible for the Knicks to win 3 straight. I just don't see it the way they're playing. So we'll talk a lot more Knicks. We got some Iron Maiden conversation. We'll talk a lot of football. I don't know. We talk about the Mets. I got to tell you, Soto's taking a beating this year from the Met fans. Holy cow, the memes that are out there, the social media attacks. Listen, the guy's not hitting. He's hitting 220-something. I think he's got 8 home runs, 20-something RBIs, if I'm not mistaken. Pedestrian, not playing exceptionally well in the field. He's made some plays, but he needs to do something soon to turn it around. Now, listen. He can go through the season, be terrible. They get to October, and he turns it on. Nobody going to care. Okay? Nobody's going to care. So he needs to hit when it matters. Right now, his team's cruising. Well, they had a rough patch, but they've still got 34, 35 wins. They're right up there with everybody else. So as long as they keep winning, they're fine. If they go into the tank or they miss the playoffs, he'll hear it. So, I would say don't worry about Juan Soto for the next 15 years, but year one has not been good so far. So lots to get to, lots to talk about, and we'll get the show kicked off right away with my boy Jeff. We're going to bring him on right now. So let's get my partner in crime, Mr. Jeff Towinski, on. What's up, Hefe?
What's up, man?
I don't know, Jeff. First, let's start with Jeff. How was your week?
I worked a lot.
Yeah, you worked the holiday and everything, right?
Yeah, no holiday for me.
Well.
Listen, right?
Yeah, that's it. But I will say I got a chance to see you perform for the first time in about, at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years. Yeah, I would say 2 years.
Huh.
I saw your first gig with the Remorons over at Juicy Lucy. That's June of...
that was December.
Sorry, it was January. It was January the 30th, 2023, I believe.
Something like that, yeah. Wow,
so that was the last time I got to see you play live. So it was nice. The band did a nice job. A couple rough spots early, but that's everybody getting started.
There was some rough spots, all right.
It was a little bit of a rough spot, but that's okay. You guys got out there and you played, and it was fine. And what's up, Frankie Cat? I got to hang out with Frankie Catalano, which is always a pleasure. And so that was nice. But you guys did a nice job, and good job by American Cover Story. They opened it up, and they did a good job of preventing any wind damage from happening. There was some thoughts of things blowing away in the wind. So good.
Listen, we saw what happened to Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz.
That's very true. It got very windy during that performance, and you guys.
I noticed. I don't want to mention names, but when we were playing, the wind kicked up. Somebody left.
Yes.
I guess you can't hold on to everything. You got to get out of there when it.
Well, the rain came. I was more with the rain than anything else, because it started to rain. They put the tent up for you guys.
Well, you think the moisture would have affected the glue?
Hey, listen, it's very possible. It's you wet it down and it gets a little heavy, and then all of a sudden the wind kicks up. It's nothing holding that back. So, tough day, but it was a good show. Good, congrats to you guys. You got another one coming. You're playing the same spot this Saturday again, right?
Yeah, but this one is kind of up in the air because of the possible weather. Who knows? Yes. We'll see what happens.
Well,
we will see what happens.
Well, either way, congrats. And Frankie Cat, thanks for coming up there. It was good to hang with you and Joe Fro and some of the other guys. I haven't seen Joe in, God, it's got to be close to 30 plus years, maybe 40 years since I ran into Joe. So it was nice to see Frank and Joe and hang and catch up on some stuff, which Frank Jeffrey could have made. Maybe he was a little under the weather, but maybe on the next one. So, but lots, not a lot to talk about, but a lot to talk about. Jeff, we got the Knicks, we got Mets and Yankees, we got some Maiden stuff.
I've saved the night.
I got quarterback tears.
Well, I got something for you too.
Okay, yeah, I know you have something. Do you want to get my dad on first before we jump into one of your categories that you want to bring up?
I'm not looking to jump into a category, but I just let you know real quick. I got what I'd like to do with this. I got two lists.
Okay.
One is the top quarterbacks in the league from 32 to 1. See if you agree with the list.
Interesting. Okay.
And one if we could do tonight, tomorrow, but the top 50 base players.
Oh, okay.
Somebody else's opinion. And I have something to go with your Iron Maiden segment.
Okay.
Which is the first set list that was used on the new tour.
Yeah, I was going to bring up they played their first show with the new drummer, which was interesting.
Well, we'll be able to meld them together and have a
cool. All right, so cool. So let's get Dad on. Let's see what he's got to talk about, and then we'll jump into your first list. We'll do the quarterbacks,
sure,
and then we'll go into the bass players, and then do the Maiden stuff, and then see where we go from there.
Whatever you'd like to do, man.
All right, you got it. So let's get my Pops on. Let's see what he's got to say. Everybody hang in there a minute. What's up, Pop?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Good, Dad. What's going on?
Not much. Yeah, really not much to.
Yeah. Quiet week.
looking at the Knicks
Yep.
playing, the totally pathetic.
Yes.
It's like you said before. It's one man rebounds, takes the ball down. There's no teamwork. I try to compare them to the 69 Knicks.
Nah, there's no
They
comparison.
can't even Phil Jackson, who I couldn't stand, who was better than what they got on their team.
You know what it
It's
is?
just-
Here's the thing, Dad. They have about 5 or 6 guys who are very talented basketball players. They really do. They have guys who Brunson, Cat, Hart. Those are really good basketball players. OG Anunoby. They're good, solid. Maybe even a couple of them could be considered great basketball players. The problem for the Knicks is they don't play as a team. One guy gets the ball. Everybody spreads out. One guy sets a very high screen at the top of the key. The guy goes around the screen and then makes a wild shot or a step back three. There are no set plays. You don't see backdoor screens. You don't see any sort of offensive, imagination. And it's just 5 guys playing solo basketball amongst 5 teammates. It's terrible basketball. They make more mistakes than I've ever seen a basketball team make. There's turnovers galore. They just play stupid, uninspired basketball. And that's a reflection of the coach. Now, he won't get fired. He's made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. This team is moving forward. But I think they need to get a new coach because I think I'd like to see somebody who comes in with some sort of offensive scheme that puts these guys out there, and they need a point guard. They need a guy who's looking to get the ball to other people. So you're dead on. It's just they are talented. It's just you wouldn't know it because it's 5 separate guys playing basketball.
See, I'm going back years.
Yep.
The Knicks, when they were winning championships, they did it with defense.
Okay.
I mean, you could look it up and see how many games they won by under 100.
Yep.
That was the whole idea. Keep the next team off. It's just that, it's like you said, they run down. It's like schoolyard basketball.
Yeah. It's you're playing with 5. It's like you show up to the park, you're by yourself, and 4 of the guys show up there, and you go, "Hey, you want to play? You want to play?" And you put 5 guys on the court who don't know each other. And Dad, what the truth is? None of these teams play basketball. They play defense. Nobody does. The Pacers don't play defense. If the Knicks ever decided to play any sort of real offense, or the one half they played defense was in Game 3, and they shut the Pacers down and came back from 20 and won the game. They actually played defense. If they played defense and made smart basketball decisions, the Knicks could not lose to this team. The problem is they're past that. I do believe they'll win tonight, but they'll lose one of the next 2 games.
They deserve to lose the whole thing.
Yeah, they just don't play
They really
good basketball. Yeah, they don't play good basketball. It's very frustrating to watch because they'll go on a run. They'll hit 4 or 5 baskets in a row, but there's nothing to their game. There's no rhythm to their game. And, guys come down and just fire up threes from anywhere or force a drive to the basket. And after every drive to the basket, they're yelling at the referee that they got fouled. Everybody gets fouled on every play. It's just, I've never seen like it in my entire life. So
I agree.
Yeah, it's not fun basketball. It's a good collection of basketball players. They either need their coach to figure that out and change things up, but they need a point guard. They need to take the ball out of Brunson's hands and get a real point guard in there who will teach them how to play as a team. And they just don't. They just don't. So I
think
don't.
they're far from. They're just not a good team at all.
I agree.
They're not good at all.
I couldn't agree
But
with
if
you.
you look at the NBA, there's no teams that are dominating defensively.
No, most of them don't play. I mean, that Knick game the other night, they were terrible. Both teams were terrible, and they still scored 130 to 121.
Right.
They were under 50% shooting, and they both scored over 120 points in a game.
Well,
So that's what they're telling you.
they're averaging 120, 250 points a game,
Yeah,
which is not. I mean,
it's not.
you
Yeah, Yeah, it's
never
not,
heard of that.
it's not good basketball, but the game's changed. Everybody takes 3-pointers and nobody plays defense. So, no. So it is what it is, and
And enjoy your night.
I will.
Hopefully and I'll see you over the weekend. Jeff,
Be good, Mr.
take care. Take nice seeing you.
You got it, Pops. I'll see you over the weekend. That's my Pops. He checks in every week, and like to have him. And there's some weeks you got a lot to talk about, and there's stuff sometimes you don't have a lot to talk about. So
He's probably like these two jerk-offs.
exactly, yeah. He's fulfilling his. I meant to congratulate him. He won re-election in his presidency of his little section there, and in his where he lives. So Dad just won another year or so as president of Section 16. So good for him. He didn't want to win, Jeff, but he accepted it with grace and style.
Well, listen, when you're in that age, every day is a victory, no?
Absolutely. Don't tell him that, please.
Of course not, man.
Absolutely. Anyway, so let's see what else. Did you happen to catch the interview Gronk gave about Aaron Hernandez this week?
I saw parts of it, but I got to be honest with you. I didn't really get too into it. One, I think Gronk is a retard. Two, Aaron Hernandez is no longer with us, so no matter what anybody says about him, there's really not much that anybody can say to dispute it. Not that I'm an Aaron Hernandez fan, but listen, the guy's gone, so you can pretty much say whatever you want about him. And
well, he told this story about how Aaron Hernandez liked to do strange things in their team meetings.
Yeah, like rub one out.
And Gronk said that in the middle of me, looked up and he was rubbing one out, and nobody was offended by this. Gronk's like, I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, first of all, here's my first problem. It's a room full of guys, and there's a guy spanking it out, and nobody's offended. That's a little, and I don't know who else saw it or if anybody else did see it, but Gronk saw it, and he had no problem with it. There's I have to tell you, that is the most bizarre story that I've heard in a while for many reasons. Starting with the fact that the guy thought it would be okay to whip it out in the middle of an offensive meeting and spank it. Gronk sees it, doesn't get offended, and in fact thinks it's cool. There's a big problem with that, Jeff. There's a big issue in my life with that.
Maybe. I mean, let's look at the variables here. Maybe Gronkowski is gay or bisexual.
I would have to tell you. I'm
certainly
sorry.
not looking good for him.
No, this is not. This isn't the funny story you tell over Christmas dinner. By the way, does you have a funny
this
story?
guy pulls his meat out and starts slapping it around. I mean, I don't know what to think myself.
In a room full of guys, if you told me they went to a strip club, the guy got hammered and he whipped. All right, you go. All right, he saw something. You're in a room full of guys having an offensive meeting. The guy's in the back pounding his punt. There's an issue there. There's a serious issue.
Yeah, of course there is. I mean, listen, I don't understand. I don't understand it. Gronkowski, I've said on this show many, many times and off this show to you that he's from retirement. He tried to play like this retard.
Yeah.
And that kind of made a character for himself, which I think ruined any kind of marketability that he had once he gets out of his frat boy look. And I don't know what's going to happen. And not for nothing, you say that this is cool. How many years has Aaron Hernandez been gone? It's got to be closing in on 10 years.
Oh, it's got to be. Sure. Yeah, I would say.
And being that he's been gone for a while. Okay. Being that they were only teammates for a short time.
Yeah, 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah, if that. And I just feel as though that that's too strange for me.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you can do or say to me that would justify you and me being in the same room at the same time and you rubbing one out, unless I was out cold and I didn't know about it and you're like, guess what I did while you were passed out.
Yeah, I mean, and to your first, that would still mean I'm a sick fuck. Just means that you're well. What the fuck you mean you're doing that while I was?
I'm a victim.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a victim of sexual harassment.
Gronk is no victim here. He was a willing participant. You watched this guy spank one out and didn't get. I mean, to me, if you're Gronk, you got to get punch the guy in the face. If I'm your teammate, I'm punching you in the face.
You get up, maybe you jump up, and you're like, "Oh, what the fuck is going on here? What is this?" You know, me. I don't know if you have to punch the guy in the face. It depends. Let's see.
Got to punch the guy in the face
on the seating arrangements.
All right.
Right. If you're on the opposite side of the room, maybe not. If he's making eye contact with you and he don't break, he don't blink, and he's just staring at you the whole time, then yeah, you need to do something about that. But if he's fucking in his own world and you're on the other side of the room and he ain't directing it towards you, then maybe you just be like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah, I'm sorry. That is the absolute strangest thing I've listened to. And again, he was telling the story like, yeah, it was pretty funny. It was, like this stuff happens every day. I'm like, this can't possibly be something that happens routinely, even in the deranged land of the NFL. It just can't.
There's only one possible explanation for this. And it's not even a feasible explanation, but I mean, there's only one possible explanation for this. And that's that Aaron Hernandez is experiencing a severe case of CTE and was, mentally losing it, which evidently he did. I mean, he was
obviously he was killing people. Yeah.
Yeah. So, things were not right, and this is a guy, he was a pretty big dude. Who knows what he was fucking on top of it.
Yeah.
Because maybe if your testosterone is through the roof, you got to crack the relief valve a little bit. But I mean, that's still, there's no way to turn around and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm sorry. I just don't see it.
Yeah. I thought it was the oddest thing I had seen in a while. And I said, I just can't be normal. I'm sorry. I can't see it. And but anyway, I just figured I'd bring it up because I thought it was a little on the strange side.
I'm not going to say that I'm glad that you brought it up. I mean, I could have went the rest of the show without talking about this, but I mean, hey, listen, you threw a subject out there.
That's it. That's how it works around here.
I'm not going to. I don't want to use the phrase "we touch base on it," but. And that's the only touching that happened as far as I'm concerned. We need to move on to the next subject. That's all.
That's it. So, all right. So let's go. Whichever way you want to go. You want to go with your.
Let's talk about Iron Maiden.
Go ahead. Okay. So let's do it. So Iron Maiden's got a new drummer. He's the drummer for Steve Harris's British Lion band. And they're kicking off the next part of their world tour. This is out in Europe, if I'm not mistaken. They opened up for the summer, playing in Europe. They'll take a break, and then I believe they'll come to the States probably at the end of the year or early next year for I think it's the Run to the Hills tour, if I'm not mistaken. Run for Your Life tour. There you go. That's it. Okay. So, question is, Jeff. I mean, another Iron Maiden. I mean, I only heard a song. I didn't hear anything bad, good, or indifferent. The guy's a professional drummer. Any thoughts on Maiden going out with their third drummer of their existence? Well, let me ask you this. Okay. Is it really going out with their third drummer? Clive Burr has been out of the band for more than 40 years at this point in time. Yeah, 83, right? 83, 84? Like 82, 83. Yeah, so it's 40 years. Came out in 83. I think Clive was thrown out in 81, 82. I mean, we'd have to double check that one. Well, not Peace of Mind. I say it's Peace of Mind. Where we would start with Nico, right? I mean, Clive did the Number of the Beast tour. So I think Peace of Mind is 83, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So we're good. It's 83, 84, something like that. So let's say he's out of there in 82. They're writing a new album, and he's out. So it's 43 years at this point that Nico was in the band. He's been out for a few months now. Yeah, I'm trying to
see what's going on here, and well, it may be a little bit too much to start going over now. But oh, wait a minute, Wikipedia will get us a definite answer here.
Go ahead.
Band members. Nico McBrain has been there since 1982.
Okay, so you're on your
All
close,
right,
right?
Clive Burr had to be out in 82, 81, 82, something like that.
Yeah, so it's 42, 43 years. But we still have to count Clive as a drummer in the band. He was there for.
You know, I'm not discounting him as a drummer of the band.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it's been so long
Yeah.
since he's been in the band that and Nico was there for so long that
Sure.
it's kind of hard to say, yes, he was there for the first 3 albums and he did tours with them, of course. But I mean, he wasn't there long enough to even really be a blip on the radar. So to say, their third drummer, it wasn't like they were burning through drummers. Like they weren't Spinal Tap-ish about drummers. Let's put it that way.
Well, let's put it this way. If you're a 40-year-old Maiden fan or even younger, if you're a 40-year-old Maiden fan and younger, you have no idea maybe what Clive Burr was all about. I mean, you only know Nico. So it's not like you're a 20-year-old and you're 40. You're a Maiden fan and you're 40 or younger. I would tell you this: if you're a Maiden fan and you're 50, think about it. That means you were 10. So if you're a Maiden fan and you're 50 and younger, you only really know Nico.
Yeah, true.
So I mean, other than listening to old albums or watching old videos. So yeah. So
I get your point. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, Nico, to me, Nico's Iron Maiden. I mean, if you want to tell me you're going to go into the Hall of Fame, if the Iron Maiden gets to go in the Hall of Fame and they only allowed 5 people, right?
It's got to be Nico McBrain.
That's my point. I think for me, as a Maiden fan, I like Clive Burr. I love the stuff that the first 3 albums with his drumming are 3 of the best albums they did. Maybe are the 3 best albums. I'm not sure. I'm not going to blame that on Nico. I think that's just the songwriting. But if I can only have 5 members of Maiden to go in, I'm sorry to Deano and I'm sorry to Clive Burr, but it's going to be Dickinson and Nico as Iron Maiden inductees.
It's hard to make an argument for those guys with the amount of time that they weren't in the band.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, think about it. You're talking about 5 years of without them not being in the band at this point.
And both of them gone. They can't even show up for anything.
Yes.
They're gone. Both of them.
Very true. Yeah, they did get it that way. But yeah. So to me, I think it's interesting. I thought, sounded Maiden-like. They still sound okay. I mean, it's hard to kind of grasp it. You listen to a video. It sounds almost like somebody in the audience is recording it, but it was good enough. Maiden. What do you want to add to that one?
Well, I found I saw an article before the show started, and I was able to take screenshots of it because I was like, "Oh, this is good to talk about." The set list.
Okay.
And some interesting tidbits about some of the songs.
Go ahead.
All right. So they opened up with Murders in the Rue Morgue.
Oh, I love that song. Love it.
First performance since September 2nd, 2005.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Next up was Wrathchild.
Wow. That's a good open. That's a great two from the great album.
First performance since July 2nd, 2017.
Now that's a little surprising. Okay.
You better make sure you're sitting for this one, because this one I found hard to believe myself. And wow, it's just all I could say about this. I'm actually getting goosebumps reading some of these songs in this thing. Killers, first performance. You want to take a stab at this one?
I mean, I would think it's recent, but from your tone, 2015.
First performance since October 1st, 1999.
Get out of here. For Killers?
Killers.
Wow.
Phantom of the Opera. First performance since July 5th, 2014.
I saw them perform that. I think I was at that tour with my son. So I saw them do that because I thought that is one of my favorite Iron Maiden songs. God, wow. It's a good set list so far.
Then we have Number of the Beast. No date on that.
Yeah, they played every tour.
The Clairvoyant, first performance since October 2nd, 2013.
I like that song. I know you don't not a big fan of that one.
I like that.
Oh, you like that one? Yeah. Okay.
Power Slave,
Okay.
first performance since July 22nd, 2017.
Wow, that's surprising.
2 Minutes to Midnight, first performance since October 15th, 2019.
That's shocking.
Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner,
Oh,
first performance since April 2nd, 2009.
they should keep that retired.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I hear you. I can't tell you what number 10 is because an ad blocked it, and when I took the picture, I didn't realize it. And next, we got Seventh Son of a Seventh Son,
Okay.
which was last played July 5th, 2014. The Trooper and Hallowed Be Thy Name.
That's a good set list.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I got it. After Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner was Run to the Hills.
Ugh.
Then Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, July 5th, 2014. The Trooper, Hallowed Be Thy Name, Iron Maiden. And the encore was Aces High, Fear of the Dark, and Wasted Years, sadly.
Do you know what? Not for nothing. That's a good set list, though.
It is. And
I know it ain't perfect, but you're not going to get, there's nothing, there's not a lot past Brave New World.
I don't see anything wrong with it. None of it bothers me.
Yeah.
I actually do have a problem with it.
Why? What's the problem?
And I'm gonna be honest. I got to get back to the list first of all. I deleted it, so let me just get back to where it was. Okay. I like Murders in the Rue Morgue. I love Rat Child, Killers, Phantom of the Opera. Okay, Diano songs.
Dude, that if you came out with that set, I could go home after those 4 songs. That's
I understand that, but I don't want to see Bruce, and I know you'll never see Paul Diano sing it, but I would rather Bruce have done all old Bruce stuff than do some of this stuff.
I got you, but I still would rather that than go hear some of the stuff off of some of the newer albums. I'm taking that in a heartbeat. But again, I get your point.
I'm listen. I hear you. I don't want to hear the newer stuff at all. Yeah. There's a lot of newer stuff that I don't want to hear. But Murders in the Rue Morgue, Rat Child, Killers, Phantom of the Opera. Those were the only old songs that they did from the Diano era.
Okay.
Everything else was old Bruce. I mean, how about Invaders? How about Where Eagles Dare? How about Revelations? I could do with if I never hear the song 2 Minutes to Midnight again.
I agree with you. I agree with you. 2 Minutes and Aces High. I not huge fans of. I agree.
Aces High is a cool song because it's just I like the solos. I like the way Dave Murray handles himself in the solo. I think Dave Murray is an underrated guitar player. I love that stuff, but to me, yes, it's nice to hear that stuff, but you know what? I just don't want to hear Bruce singing Paul Diano.
I get it. It definitely.
I'm not saying it's sacrilege. I'm not going to say that.
No,
but I would there's enough Maiden stuff with Bruce that I wouldn't mind if he did an all set of just himself. That's fine with me. I wouldn't have a problem.
Here's the thing for me. Of course, listen, I've got the albums. I've listened to them a million times. But I have only heard Dickinson in concert. So for me, I've heard him do I don't know if I've heard Murders. That's one of my favorite Maiden songs of all time.
Oh, of course.
But I've never heard Diano live in person sing that stuff. So to me, I still attribute it to the times I went as a kid and saw them do Iron Maiden, do Phantom of the Opera, do all of those stuff that was Killers and Rat Child. So while I get your point, and maybe that's why maybe they're playing the first 4 of them to get it out of the way and move on. But that to me is a really good. The only song that I can tell you I can't stand is Run to the Hills. It's the one Maiden song I can't listen to.
There's a couple that I would Yeah, I hear you, Frank. I feel the same way. But there's a couple that I could deal. I don't need to hear Wasted Years.
I like the song, but I would not make that as an encore. To me, you got to end with Iron Maiden. I don't know how you don't end the set list with Iron Maiden.
I agree. Matter of fact, did I even mention that song?
You did. It was the first of the 3. It was that one, Fear of the Dark, and then Wasted Years with their encore.
Oh, well, okay. No, it wasn't.
You said Iron Maiden.
Aces High, Fear of the Dark, Wasted Years.
You didn't just how about
Iron Maiden ended the set.
Okay. Okay, so I guess you could say that's fine. It was the last song, and then they come out. But to me, the last song when Iron Maiden goes off the air, goes off the air when they go off stage, the last song, the last thing you should hear is the song Iron Maiden. The first thing you hear is a UFO, obviously, and the last thing you should hear is Iron Maiden.
I'll tell you. First of all, Frank, I'd like for you to say why that shouldn't be the last song, but it's hard to when your name of your band is Iron Maiden and the album was Iron Maiden and the song is Iron Maiden, and it's hard not to end with that song. And it's a great song. But I disagree with you, Tom. I think that Iron Maiden should have opened up every concert. Oh, Wasted. I agree with that. Yeah,
I agree wholeheartedly, Frank. Yes,
totally agree.
Yeah, totally agree. I like the song, but I would never end the show with that.
The perfect opening for Maiden is to always open with fucking Number of the Beast, man.
I agree with you. That
they do that little skit, and then once they start playing and Bruce comes out and sings, I mean, come on, the steam and everything.
I agree with you. I happen to agree with that. To me, that's the perfect. You get the whole doctor thing, and then all of a sudden the lights go out, and all you hear is the woe to you or to see, and then all of a sudden you get the guitar going. And it kicks the show. And so I'm with you. I couldn't agree with you more.
That the fucking roof would blow off the place, man.
Love every. That would to me. You're absolutely right. It's Number of the Beast opens it, and Iron Maiden should close it. And everything else in between is okay with me, especially that set. I don't mind anything. Again, Rhyme Ancient Matter is a good song. It's just too long, and you got that whole slow down. What's his name? Nico used to go swimming during that part. Like he would go and they had this little swimming pool thing, and he would swim during it and come back. I like Running Free too. Just I don't know. I would rather hear like Sanctuary would be a great one to hear. They've done that. I've seen that in the past, but I got no Phantom of the Opera. Charlotte the Harlot would be nice to add in there, but that's a good set list.
I'm going to ask you for next week, Frank, if you want to get involved, please do. Okay. But next week, come up with your perfect Iron Maiden set, regardless of what I said Invaders earlier, man. That's hard to. Oh, my God.
That's a great. Again, you can also open it up with Where Eagles Dare. I mean, that drum intro would be perfect. All right. So not only the songs, but in the right order, correct? Like how you'd want the set to go.
Yeah. Make up your set of what you would want to see. 15 song set, just like they did. What they do, 15 or 14 songs. I think it was 14. They did.
Okay.
I'll let you know right now. 14 songs plus three encore.
Okay.
So give me 14 songs. So 17 songs altogether.
Yeah, I like Fear of the Dark too, and I think it's a good closing song because it gets the crowd involved. So I like Fear of the Dark. I think that's fine. I have no problem with that song being in there. That's a classic Maiden song, but
I will say this: after the Somewhere on Tour, whatever it is that they just got off of, it is definitely a relief to see that they're not playing much off of that fucking album, man.
Well, yeah, because we went through that set list and there were like maybe 2 or 3 decent songs, and everything else was like off
that album. I don't want
that album and the other one, Book of Souls, and to me, that's why we say I don't go to any more of the new album tours because they play. A lot of newer stuff, a lot of stuff off that. They're just going to break and put it down and just run through it. I wait for these tours, the middle one where they, go out there and they do an old classic set. That's the one I want to go to. That's why we're going to go to this one because this is a set list you want to hear. And I hope to God it's in Madison Square Garden because it would be nothing better than going to the Garden and hear that. But I see it anywhere, whether it's PNC or what's the one? The other one, the one in Newark, Prudential Center.
I don't know if they'll play PNC. You think they'll play PNC?
No, I doubt it because it's coming in wintertime. It's so no. The answer is it'll be either at the Prudential Center or it'll be at the Garden. Maybe both. Who knows? Maybe Barclay. It could be Barclay Center.
Let's see what happens when they
come
back around.
There's only 2 Blaze era songs I like. I have to pull up the album, think of the name.
I don't even know their songs.
Yeah, there's 2 songs that I actually like from the Blaze era. Really good song. I'm just drawing a blank on them right now. I'll put that in. I'll find it for you. But there are there was some good music there. It just his voice is odd, Blaze Bayley. He's got a good voice. Don't get me wrong. It just didn't fit the Iron Maiden that I wanted to hear, and the songs were so. To put it mildly, but there was a couple of good ones. I would tell you. There was a couple of good tunes. Frank, what do you got? You have anything you liked off that stuff? But so that's a good topic for next week. The Iron Maiden set, 14 songs plus the 3 encores. And this is what if you're an Iron Maiden fan, this is what you want to see. You want them out there playing this stuff. I admit for them, maybe it's it's nice to play some of the newer stuff and some of the hidden gems or the B-sides as they call them. But for me, if I can hear Murders in the Rue Morgue, I'm going every time.
Yeah, like I said, for me, it's hard to like. Most of my stuff is going to be Bruce heavy, if not all of it, simply because I just.
Well, you don't want to hear Bruce singing his stuff. You don't want to hear him.
It's 2 different. He just doesn't have it for me to sing that. It's not.
I get it. Yeah. Well, he puts it in his register. He puts it in his, and it's more dirtier and grungier and grittier when Di'Anno sang it. I get it. It definitely changes the song a little bit, but I just like that. I love those songs, and again, I've only heard Bruce ever sing them live in person, so I'm okay with it.
Well, he's not really my type, Frank, but
Becky J. But all good. So we'll come up with a set list next week, and we'll do that. And I think it's cool. Maiden still out there doing their thing, and I love the set list, man. I think that's I was almost, when you said you had their set list, I got a little nervous because I'm like, oh no, now I'm gonna know what they're playing, and I'm not gonna want to go.
No. Listen, that's the first night. I'm sure they're gonna change it.
Yeah,
I see them going the whole tour on that.
No, again, that's what they're playing in the European tour. We still don't know what they're going to come to the States and play.
The encores might be different.
Sure.
This is supposed to be songs that are supposed to be retired after they play them. I can't see some of those songs being retired after they play. Maybe something like Murders in the Rue Morgue. Or,
how do you retire? How are you going to retire Number of the Beast? It's impossible.
No, it's impossible. Is right.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Can you retire Murders? You can. You can't retire Wrathchild. There's no way you can retire Wrathchild.
Well, you didn't do Killers in almost 26 years. Are you kidding me?
That is the strangest thing in the world to me.
So
but
what was the last time they did like Innocent Exile or
oh my God, probably never at this point.
That might have been fucking 40 years ago.
Yeah, if it's that long since they played Killers, you're 100% right. It's got to be. Yeah, it's very weird to know that is very strange. So, hey, like I said, hopefully the set list is good, and we'll go out and see them. Hopefully this September, October, Maine will come into town, and we'll get to see them play a night someplace. And if that's the last time I get to see them, and this is the type of set list I'm going to get, listen, I'm all in.
They also said that they're doing some meet and greets.
Really?
Yeah, there's going to be a Eddie dive bar set up here and there. There's a couple different things happening.
That's interesting. They're not usually the most fan-friendly band in the world.
They're not?
No, they're not. You never hear meet and greets. You never hear, that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that they're nasty guys or they don't like their fans. I'm just saying is, you see a lot of these other bands that do these things. Kiss and even Black Sabbath on the last tour had that. That's my biggest regret, that I didn't go the extra route and get those seats. That would have, listen, a half-hour meet and greet with Hazy in his dressing room. I regret that every day. Believe me when I think about it.
You know what? For what you would have had to pay for that,
it would have been worth.
It's like paying to be Gene Simmons' roadie. I just can't see that.
I'm just saying, to me, it would have now. At the time, I'm like, I don't know. It's a lot. Who knows? We get there in time. We'll be. And now I go, we should have did it.
I got a feeling that any kind of maiden meet and greet is going to be a little bit easier on the wallet and more reasonable.
Well, we'll see.
Than some of these other bands.
We'll see. Again, hopefully we'll take a tribe and go out and see Maiden. And Frank, I agree. I just
met them before Frank Catalano. You met them? They might not just maybe. What you said, not most fan friendly, maybe not most fan accessible band.
Maybe that's a better word for it.
Yeah, a better word to use. I mean, I can't see Steve Harris acting like a jerk off. I really can't. They all seem to be very like
Bruce is. I go 50-50 on Bruce.
Bruce just looks like he'd be a dick. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, so Frankie's met them a couple times. Good for, okay, so then Frankie's had a better
insight. Did you meet
all
of them, Frank? All 5 of them? Like nobody gives a fuck about Yannick Gears, by the way. So. We don't even count him.
Yeah, Jeff prefers if the guitar hits. I said Jeff prefers if the guitar hits him in the head on the way down.
Yeah. Oh, listen. I mean, I don't know. There's just something about Bruce Dickinson and the way he acts now. I don't know. I could do without meeting Bruce.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I would love to meet the guitar players. Obviously, I love to meet Steve Harris. I'm almost afraid sometimes especially with Iron Maiden. I'm such a fan. I've been a fan for so long that you don't want to meet them and have them be turds and go, I fucking did this for 40 years. And I agree. I bet you Nico is the nicest. Everything I've ever heard, I've been to his restaurant in Florida, and everybody there couldn't have been nicer, and they all talked nothing but the best about him. Even some of the customers said that when he's in there, you sit down with you and hang out. And so,
really?
Yeah. So, I mean, I have, jumping on stage with that. So, but I would be afraid to meet, especially Harris, to this point in my life, to meet Steve Harris and then be a douche.
No, he's not. You know why? Because I've seen pictures of people I know that have met him, were lucky enough to meet him.
Yep.
And he's standing like right with you. He's not like, like there you are over there.
Yeah.
Part of your face is in the picture, and like he was with you, and which made it look cool. Like that he actually, maybe even if it was for 5 minutes, he took 5 minutes. He's like, hey, what's your name, man? Thanks for coming. And like I don't know, like maybe answer a couple of your questions. Like, what do you say to Steve Harris?
I have no idea. That's a big. I've had that happen to me. I'm a huge Dale Murphy fan. Huge. I love Dale Murphy. I always have. And I got to sit next to him, just me and him, for about 15 to 20 minutes while he was signing autographs, and I didn't have anything to say to the guy. I mean, I was a huge fan. I sat there and went, I don't know what to ask this guy, and I just sat there. We couple of quick comments, and I said, nice to meet you, and I walked away. I literally had nothing to say. So
I have plenty of stuff to say to Steve Harris, man.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I was around the Kiss guys when I was in Florida for Fox, and they were doing the Super Bowl. And I was telling the story about I walked up to Ace and tried to take a picture with him, and he turned into the biggest douche. And I love Ace Frehley. As a kid, that was my guy. I love Ace. And it completely soured me on Ace Frehley because of what he did.
The guy that fixes my basses is Ace Frehley's guitar tech.
Okay.
Right. And when I go there and I talk to him, sometimes we end up talking for 5 minutes. Sometimes we could talk for almost an hour.
Right.
And I asked him something, and I was floored by the answer. Floored.
Okay.
The only time that I talk to this guy is when there's a bass involved.
Okay.
Like me bringing it to him or whatever. I'm there telling him what has to get done, whatever. So the conversation is always music related. He's a nice guy. Don't get me wrong. It's just, we never really sat down and really talked and see what we had in common.
Sure.
He's always like on his way out. He's got to do things. But the other night, a couple of weeks ago, actually, I went there to pick up a bass and I was talking to him. So I was like, I says, what is it like? Like, are you cool with Ace? Like, does Ace text you on Christmas? Like, hey, man, Merry Christmas and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, he goes, well, he does. He's all right. He's an all right guy. But hey, to be honest with you, he goes, me and you are probably better friends than I am with me and him. And I was like, wow, that says a lot because me and him are like,
Yeah.
He ain't coming over anytime soon, and he ain't inviting me over.
Yeah.
Going there to pick up a bass and give him money.
Yeah, friends, your
So it's
friend
not like,
Lee.
let's go out for dinner or let's go get a beer.
Yeah.
And he's been Ace's guitar tech for a long, long time.
Wow.
And I was just like, wow, that's weird. But he's just like, yeah, he goes, I mean, he's a nice guy to me, but it is what it is. So him not being cool to you when this is the guy that does all his guitar repairs, I guess it's just a business relationship.
That's pretty much what you're talking about there. Yeah, I guess so. Like I said, for me, I met Ace briefly to ask for a quick picture after he was taking pictures with about 50 different people. And he looked at me like I was about to stab him and steal his kids. And he just completely ignored me. So I've told the story about being there. I'm in Miami. Kiss is playing the Super Bowl halftime show, and it's the day they're doing the dress rehearsal. And there must have been 100 girls, women dressed up with Kiss makeup on, and all the short outfits and stuff. And they're running through everything, and it's done. And now they're all trying to take pictures with the band. So Ace is taking pictures like crazy with all the different ladies, this and that. And I get it, it's ladies. And I said, all right, if he's taking pictures with everybody, he can't mind. I walked up and said, Mr. Frehley, I'm a huge fan. I've been a fan since, the beginning. I would love to take a quick pic with you. And he just stared at me for it felt like an hour. It was literally couldn't have been more than 5 or 6 seconds. And he just looked at me, kind of cocked his head and turned around and walked away.
Jesus Christ.
It would have taken him, it would have been shorter to just take the picture and walk away than stare at me. I swear to God, it felt like an hour. And, that was it. I was like, I said from that point, I'll never ask anybody again. I don't think I ever have. But that's the bad part of meeting. I don't want to call him a hero, but somebody that you looked up to as a kid.
But you know what? That was somebody that was a childhood hero. But that's when you turn around and be like, you know what? Now I go home and throw all your shit out. Fuck you and Kiss, and fuck you and your solo band, and your fucking solo record was the 5th worst one in Kiss.
But that's it. But yeah, again, if the Maiden's doing a meet and greet, I promise you, our seats will be meet and greets because
dude, I would have to say that this is a must.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no doubt in my mind that if I'm going to see Iron Maiden, and they have the chance that this could, you never know what happens tomorrow. If this is my last shot of seeing Iron Maiden, or possibly my last shot.
Tom, keep going. I just got to grab something real quick.
No problem. And I will do that. So again, Hard Rocket Sports, that's Jeff and Tom. We're every Thursday night, and we've been chatting a little music. We're going to come back and do, we'll stay on the subject of music and do bass players. And then we're going to get into some quarterbacks, and we'll talk a little bit Mets, Yankees if you want. We got a little Knicks working tonight. Game 5 back in Madison Square Garden. Knicks not looking great. But, Jeff, since we're on the subject of great bass players, why don't we talk about your list of top 50 bass players?
Yeah, I found. Do
you know what site it is by any chance? I can bring up the list.
No, I don't, dude. And it was something at work. I found it, and it said the top 49 bass players. I had to put number 50 in there, but the reason I wanted to do this is because of the ridiculous spots that some of these people.
Go ahead. You want to run down the list, or you want to go through the ones you go with odd?
I'll tell you, I'm going to go from 50 to 1, and then what I'd like you to do is just when I mention the names, just tell me if he should be higher up or lower on the list.
All right, so
if you agree to the spot. So whenever you're ready,
go ahead.
All right, so starting at number 50 and working towards number 1, once again, we got Victor Wooten.
That sounds a little low, but I have to see what the list. Sounds a little low.
Number 49, Les Claypool.
I don't know much about Les Claypool.
From Primus. He's pretty sick.
Okay.
Cliff Burton is next on the list, which I thought was kind of low. But
I myself never. Again, I'm not a bass player. I'm not the musician. Some people are. I would think he's a little low on the list. I'd have to see who's ahead of him, but. Yeah, I'm not.
Who's ahead of him? Just about everybody else. Tom.
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah.
Next on the list, John Paul Jones.
That sounds very low. Wow.
That sounds extremely low.
Yeah, very so.
Then next is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which doesn't really bother me.
It's a hell of a great bass player. I need to see who's ahead of him, but yeah, it sounds like he's a little low for me. Should be more in the 30s at least.
Yeah, Jack Bruce.
Okay.
John Entwistle. I don't know how.
John Entwistle's down there. Get out of here.
John Entwistle would have been number 41.
There's a guy who should be in the top 5.
Yeah, Lemmy, who's about where he needs to be.
I would agree with that. Lemmy's more show than he is. Yeah. Go ahead.
Roger Waters, Bootsy Collins, who's a funk bass player.
Great bass player. Maybe a little low on that list, but go ahead.
Charles Mingus. I forget who he is. Should have wrote this down, but I did it at work and I didn't have enough time. I've heard of him. I don't know who he is. Can't remember.
Yeah.
Next on the list, you ready for this one? This is pretty sick. Actually, the next couple are pretty fucking insane, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Steve Harris.
Come on.
Wait, don't say nothing yet. Next after Steve Harris, Geezer Butler.
Get the hell out of here.
Wait, the shocking continues. After that, John Deacon.
John Deacon?
Queen. Wait.
That's a hell of a murderer's row right there, but that's a little low. That's a little low for that group. That should be in the top 10.
We are not even done yet with this one. You ready?
Good.
After Mr. Deacon, Chris Squire from Yes.
Who's in the top 10?
Yeah. After Chris Squire, Tim Comerford from Rage Against the Machine and Audio Slave.
Okay.
Okay, which is a little low on the list, but okay, he belongs there more so than Steve Harris, Geezer, Chris Squire, or Deacon.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, after Tim Comerford, James Jamerson from Motown.
Okay.
Okay, you ready for this one?
Okay.
Billy Sheehan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, this is an amazing list, bro.
Yeah, let me know when you get to the top 20, because right now we're still in the 30s, right?
Yeah, we're just about in the 30s. Carol Kay, who was a big bass player.
Yeah.
John Myung, that's from Dream Theater.
Okay.
Dream Theater, I believe.
Good bass player, really good.
Number 21, which would have been like number 30, I guess. Yeah, no, number 20. I forget. I should have wrote them down the other way.
Okay.
Tony Levin, not Levine. He was another well-known bass player. After him, Robert Trujillo from Metallica.
See, now, how is he ahead of all those other guys? How's he ahead of Steve Harris and Geezer Butler and Entwistle and Billy Sheehan? There's no way, no Deacon. There's no way, good bass player. Don't get me wrong. No way in the world he belongs at that spot ahead of those guys. But go ahead.
Dude, when you hear some of these other names and where they are, you're going to be like, are you fucking kidding?
I want to know who came up with this list. I think Frankie's right. I think it's
a retarded person. Who was Mark King. I forget who he was. He's next on the list. Then we got Phil Lynott from Thin Lizzy, thank you.
Good bass player. Okay, that's about where he should be in that 20s. Yeah, go ahead.
But the next one shouldn't be there. That would be Geddy Lee.
Holy cow! Again, I love Geddy Lee. Now, do I believe Geddy Lee's better than all those guys that are in the upper 30s? That's a tough one, and Geddy Lee should be higher on the list.
Listen, the top of the list should be Entwistle, Chris Squire, Geddy Lee, without a doubt.
Butler, Deacon, yeah.
Well, Butler, but you know what? Geezer Butler and Steve Harris are metal bass players. They're a notch below Chris Squire.
Top 10? Yeah, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying that those guys should be filling out the top 10.
Yeah, I agree. Next is Mike Watt. I forget who he's with. Peter Hook. I don't remember who he's with. And then at number 28, which I think would be number 32, if my math is right, it's probably not. Berry Oakley from the Allman Brothers, who's an excellent bass player also.
Okay.
He should be a little bit higher on the list, but it is what it is. Then we got Larry Graham and Stanley Clark. They should be up higher on the list too. Anthony Jackson is on the list. I don't remember who he is. Marcus Miller, Chuck Rainey, Jack Cassidy, Verdine White from Earth, Wind, and Fire, Stu Hamm. I forget what band he was. He was in a band, but he was like kind of like a funk bass player, I think.
Okay.
Justin Chancellor from Tool. This is one that I don't understand, but okay. David Ellison. I don't think that he should have been as high up on the
Dave Ellison from Megadeth and all.
Yeah, yep.
Never that high with those guys behind him. Go ahead.
Okay, next up on the list, which would be number 40, what would be number 10? This is number 10 or 11. Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses.
No, come on. Now, what, did Duff write this list?
Yeah.
How does Duff? I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad bass player, but to tell me Duff McKagan is better than Bootsy Collins, better than John Deacon, and all, come on, that's ridiculous.
Well, if Duff McKagan didn't write it, then maybe number 41, Kim Deal from the Pixies did.
Come on, are we kidding?
Okay.
Maybe this is reverse list. Like the number one is the worst. I mean,
no, dude, this was it, man. Because I mean, this is the way it was.
oh
I
man,
wrote him as they had him.
I got you.
42 was Leland Schuyler, if I didn't say it already. Frank Catalano, the answer to your question is next is Paul McCartney, sitting between Leland Schuyler, who's a pretty good bass player,
Yeah.
and the next bass player after Paul McCartney is Esperanza Spalding. I have no idea who that is. Somebody.
Okay.
Anyone?
You got me. Yeah, go ahead.
George Porter. I have no idea who that is. Bill Black. Kim Gordon. I believe she was in Talking Heads. Pino Palladino. I don't know who that is. Okay. Number 49. I'm going to let you take a guess who number 49 is.
Okay. So,
Which would actually be number 2.
yeah. So, number 2, everybody, I'm trying to think who's not on that list that I would say deserves. Wow. Boy, oh boy, Jeff. I don't know who's missing.
Well, who's missing? That would be John McVie from Fleetwood Mac.
Come on.
Yeah.
I never would have got that one. I never would have got it.
That was the top 49. This list had to be from 1 to 50 and not 50 to 1. You know what I mean?
Who's number 1?
Well, they just did the top 49, but I put Jocko in
Okay.
as one of the
to fill up the 50.
yeah.
I'm almost hoping that this was I'm hoping this was a reverse list, but it still wouldn't make any sense because McCartney would be at the wrong end.
Yeah, I was just going to say, even if it is a reverse list, why are you putting him all the way down there? I don't understand that at all. You know what I mean?
Is a Soul Train woman. Okay. I
can only listen to what you tell us, Frank, because I don't know for sure, to be honest with you.
I always wonder, like, who makes up these lists? Like, is there one guy sitting in a room and he hates metal and he puts all the guys in, like, lumps them into one spot? Is it the fan voted? To me, I don't know how do you truly pick a list? We've gone through tons of these lists and we've made our own lists, but how do you what would be the ideal way? Would you say it has to be like the top 50 bass players alive would have to vote on it? Is it fan voting?
A lot of those bass players are dead. And Paul, to answer your question, I found a list online, the top 50 bass players of all time. What you would have to say, so that they don't come burn your house in the middle of the night, is to say that this is the top, in my opinion, my top 50 bass players.
Yeah.
My top 50 favorite bass players, or who I think are the top 50, not in any particular order. I'm just throwing 50 bass players out.
Yeah, to me, for Duff McKagan to be number 11, McCartney's at 9, and then you got, Deacon, Geezer, Steve Harris, Entwistle, all lumped up into the 30s and 40s. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. You're talking about some of the most accomplished bass players of all time in rock and roll. Again, Bootsy Collins, I'm not a huge fan, but that's a great bass player.
Flea was on the list, Paul. Yes.
Flea was way up. He was in the mid 30s.
No. Flea would have been on number 5.
Oh, number 5?
Yeah.
Oh, 5 so he'd been number 45.
Yeah. If you reverse the list and you said that Victor Wooten, Les Claypool, Cliff Burton, John Paul Jones, and Flea were your top 5, I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with that, but I don't think that's a solid top 5.
I think you get less of an argument from me. All right,
less of an argument, but still an argument because Rex Brown wasn't even on the list. Cliff Burton was number 3 on the list.
Yeah. Again, I think Cliff Burton was a solid base player. I mean, you know better than me.
Gene Simmons wasn't even on the list, Frank.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. In that group, Gene Simmons belongs on that list. I'll take Gene Simmons before I take Duff McKagan. He's at least, a solid base player. I'm sorry, there's guys on the list, whatever. But
there's a lot of guys on that list that definitely you want to put them on the list. That's fine.
Yeah,
they shouldn't be where they are. James Jameson, as low as he is, the Chris Squire, John Deacon, Steve Harris, and Giza. They should have. I could see his metal bass players alone, Steve Harris and Giza, not being up near the top of the list.
Yeah, I get it.
Hey, listen, it could have been worse. The guy from Poison could have been there.
Yeah.
Nick Six could have been there.
A
couple other fucking winners could have been on the list. So
very true. See, I like lists because it elicits a reaction from people. Because
the guy, John Entwistle was on the list. He was number 7 on the list.
Yeah, but that we don't know if it was 7 from the bottom or 7 from the top. Mark the Animal Mendoza.
I believe he's in the next.
He's on the list right behind the guy from Venom.
Yeah, the next set of 50, like the 3rd or 4th set of 50.
Yeah, I love lists because it's so subjective. It really is just subjective.
It is, but come on, there's some guys listed on that list that are some seriously talented, and John Entwistle is his name, bro.
Yeah,
but they also, it's not as subjective as you think, because you could go by this list and you could say, well, is Tim Comerford as good as, say, Les Claypool? Probably not.
But again, is that subjective? Is that like you and I would have a conversation, and you would say, we've had it. You have said that you think Entwistle's the best rock bass player, blah 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 blah. I would probably counter, and not because I don't think he's great. I just prefer Harris, or maybe I think I put Geezer Butler ahead because of all the things he's got to do when he plays. So it's subjective. I don't, if Entwistle was 5 and Geezer and Getty was 4, is it that big a deal? But so lists are very subjective, and it would be odd if 2 people created the same list.
I don't.
Yes, Lemmy did make the list. Yes,
I don't think anybody could make the same list in this order. That would be
this list is impossible. But any list, if you and I sat down and we came up with the top 10 or 15 bass players or guitar players, our list would be different. Like, it's just,
of course,
everybody's subjective.
And you might even get different people. You may, but I mean, to me, you know what? Metal is when you think about metal.
Yep.
Right. What is metal? It's most of the time 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. But you listen to a guy like Geddy Lee or Chris Squire play bass, and they're all over the place. And then you listen to a guy like Lemmy. I mean, you really can't compare Lemmy to
of course not.
Those guys.
Of course not.
He's great for what he did, but anybody could pretty much play what Lemmy played.
Yeah, Lemmy was a good show. That's why I say, to me, I take Gene Simmons over Lemmy. I don't think Lemmy was any good. Lemmy's just all about being Lemmy. He was just famous for being Lemmy.
It was more, and some of the bass players that did not make the list, like you asked about Rex Brown, he did not make the list from Pantera. Jason Newsted did not make the list.
I like Jason Newsted. I think Jason Newsted
a lot.
Yeah, me too.
And the Ian Hill didn't make the list. Not that Ian Hill. I mean, you would think that Ian Hill, being in Judas Priest alone, would get him on the list.
Yeah, listen.
Williams from AC/DC did not make the list.
Yeah.
Another guy that has been out there playing for God knows how many years.
Yeah. No, listen, again, I Rudy Sarzo didn't make the list. I think Rudy Sarzo is a good bass player.
I forgot about Rudy Sarzo. How's that?
Yeah, Bob Daisley. Was it Bob Daisley?
Bob Daisley didn't make the list. Pete Way didn't make the list.
Yeah. There's
Peter
some,
Cortez from Accept didn't make the list.
yeah, there's some good base players that did
Awesome.
make this. Yeah.
That would make a top loaded medal list.
Oh, well, again, if you're doing it overall, where you're bringing in the Esmeralda Spaldings of the world, along with Jeff, you and my cousin Gary did electrical for Chris Wire. You and
Yeah, he told me about that, dude.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I believe he said, yeah, he was telling me about the signed base, I believe. He was a nice guy. I've definitely seen your cousin play before, because I don't know if you go to that feast in Rosebank, the Feast of Mount Carmel. They do it every year in July, right after 4th of July. And I've seen him play it before, because I remember the band. He said he plays bass for Vito Picone, which was
oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So I know that I've definitely seen him play, because I've seen Vito Picone play.
Right. Yeah. They're still active, I think, right?
Yeah. Well, Vito Picone may not be as active as he once was. I'm sure he's slowed down. He eats a lot of soft food.
I'm sure he does at this point in time. Yes.
He may wear rubber pants underneath his trousers. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah. He's not reaching for the little star anymore. I tell you that much.
Well, he's just making a little brown star.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what? Here's the thing, too. I want you to think about this, Tom.
Yeah.
We are 1 week closer to us ourselves wearing rubber pants under our trousers. And every week that goes by, we're rapidly getting to that area, that point in time.
Can't argue with you, my man.
I went to the doctor the other day.
Uh-huh.
You want to go over the doctor's appointment real quick?
Pretty sure. We always talk about God.
So he says to me, he goes, "Have you ever gone for a colonoscopy?" And I was like, no.
I was just thinking the same thing. I have never done one either. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've not gone for one of them. I
Not
said,
me either.
that kind of scares me, and I've not gone for one. He's like, "Oh, that's understandable. I hear you. Would you try the Cologuard?" He goes, "If you get the Cologuard done, you're good for 3 years. If you do the other tests, you're good for 5 to 10. But for somebody like you, the Cologuard is, at least you get an idea." So we talked about it a little bit more in depth, and I asked him, like, what happens, and is there anything I should be looking for? And he told me, and thank God I don't have any of the symptoms, the telltale signs.
Right.
And I don't want to jinx myself. So, knock wood here that I'm good.
Yep.
So anyway, my box came today. So
now you got to poop in the box?
What's that?
Now you got to poop in the box?
Like a cat, yeah. And then send it away. I got to send it. I'm finally going to get to mail a chunk of my shit.
You've always dreamed of mailing your poop to somebody. Now you're getting the chance.
I got your address, and I have extra boxes. So
that's true. Yes,
if you happen to get a box in the mail, I would like, Edie, open that.
Yes, please. Outside if possible. If you send it to me, I'm going to take it to Frank Catalano's house and set it on fire.
Just as long as it don't come back to me, it's all good.
Wow, yeah, it is that time. It is that time in our lives, and yes, I've my wife is setting up some appointments. This summer is my time to get checked out for everything. So yes, I've been delaying.
The problem with getting checked out for everything is finding that you have some of the stuff you're getting checked out for.
That's very true. Very true.
And that's when life gets scary. Like right now, there's no major signs, no blood comes out when it shouldn't.
Yeah.
No lumps anywhere where they shouldn't be. And I wake up in the morning in relative pain because I stiffen up over the night. But other than that, after walking around for a few minutes, I feel good.
Yeah. Same here. Knock wood. Same here. I got no major complaints.
My biggest concern is, with this test, you don't actually shit in a box.
Okay.
You put this netting in the toilet and you let rip in the toilet.
Oh, then you got to gather it and put it in the box?
Well, you got to put a little chunk in there. My wife won't exactly tell me too much involved. And I told her, I says, "I'm going to need a shit buddy."
Yeah. And
she was like, "Absolutely not."
I'm good.
Definitely not.
You got to get a bigger box and you just got to put the whole thing in there.
I don't think they want that.
You don't think so? Tell them to put some aside for the future.
Yeah. Test this one next time.
Yeah. Couple months, give this one a try.
Unless the first test is bad, just throw them all out then.
There you go. Yeah. And don't call me.
Yeah. Call somebody else. But Yeah, so I maybe by the time we speak again,
You'll have your
I
results.
will have gone out and mailed my box of shit. I don't know.
Let me tell you something. If you don't videotape this whole procedure from not necessarily the initial act, but walking this box to the mailbox to actually like you got to take it to the post office and hand it to somebody and say,
You got to go
"Here's
to
my box of
UPS.
shit." Yeah,
You got to go
here's
to
my,
UPS. And
here's
the
my
thing
box
is,
of shit.
the thing is in a mistakable white box too. So the only thing it doesn't do is sing like the Cologuard commercial.
You got to take it fresh, so that way by the time it's getting it, starting to go. It's got to be, and when they give the whole questionnaire, is it solids? Is it liquids? Could be.
Well, you can't provide a liquid sample.
Well, sometimes they have no choice.
Yeah, I know that's.
Part of
I
the
know.
problem.
I may have to eat some cheese that week or something. I don't know.
You might have to stiffen up a little bit.
Yeah, a little plaster of Paris in my oatmeal. I don't know.
Plenty of bananas, my friend. Go for the bananas. They'll tighten you right up.
I don't know. Anyway, come on, we gotta get off of that.
Yeah, let's get off the poop. Hard Rock.
It's not even that. I don't care about that. I don't want to talk about sending mine away. Like this is
as a kid, this would be a fun experience. We'd be happy to go. We'd probably all be in the bathroom while you were pooping, and then we'd all be down at the UPS office cracking up that we handed the guy a box of poop. So,
yeah, Frank. I guess you're gonna be my shit buddy. Inbox me your phone number. Well, actually got an iPhone. Maybe we could FaceTime one another.
Frank, if I could find a way to just copy and paste that comments right there, I would put that out on Facebook. Like if there was a way for me to snatch that and make that my post on Facebook, that is classic right there. That is so metal. There's nothing more metal than that in the world. You have achieved full metal greatness, Jeff. That's why I look at it.
Well, listen, I hope that everything came out all right. But,
yeah.
I
want to see. There's a way. Hold on a second. There's a way that I can put that. There it is. I got it right up on the screen. Frankie, you're immortalized on the show. That's it. You're officially up there.
Oh my God, that's nasty. Fuck me.
I had to take a spoonful, take a quick taste, and then put it in the test tube and send it back. That's the only thing I needed. Just a little. I had to take a little sample taste. And Tony Gunn popped in. I used to see Tony pop in everywhere.
I thought it was tapioca, but then I realized tapioca is like white, like vanilla.
This might be the craziest conversation we've ever had on this show, and that is saying something. We've done some crazy stuff.
The chocolate mousse in the test tube.
Let's get to your quarterback. Your quarterback list now.
This is an interesting list. This is
before I forget, Tony Gunn and his band is back out playing June 14th. So everybody, make sure check out on Facebook. Go find Tony, and make sure you go out and support. They don't play too often, but when they do, you should go out and see one of the best bands on the island. So take a listen to Tony. But go ahead, Jeff. Go give me
playing that day too again. Well, this is starting from the worst to the best.
Good. Okay.
There's no denying. Once we start this list off, there's no way that you'll get this one confused. So at number 1 to 32 being the best, we have Tyler Shaw.
Oh, okay. He hasn't even played a game yet for the.
I know. Well, listen, out of 32 projected starting quarterbacks,
okay,
he is number 32.
All right.
Number 2, Mason Rudolph.
Okay.
Number 3, Anthony Richardson.
Wow, interesting. Okay, I would totally agree. Terrible quarterback.
Number 4, Joe Flacco.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't think he'd be that high on this list. Okay, go ahead.
No, remember this is
the worst. This is worst plays. Yeah.
Number 5, Justin Fields.
Wow, that does not bode well for you and your New York Football Jets.
I knew you were going to say that. That's why I take great pleasure in saying number 6, Russell Wilson.
Wow. Okay. All right. So we see what kind of we're going to have right here.
Sam Darnold. What a surprise!
See, now that does surprise me because everybody's been on the Sam Darnold train the last couple of years now. So that does surprise me. Let's see who's ahead of Sam. Go ahead.
Sam Darnold had one decent season.
I'm not disagreeing.
And it imploded at the end, and yet everybody's anointing him the next best thing.
I agree with you.
Number 8, Cameron Ward.
Oh, Cam Ward. Okay. So see how is Cam Ward ahead of Sam Darnold? I grant that Sam Darnold doesn't deserve to be, but Cam Ward's a rookie, hasn't played a snap in the NFL. But okay, they're projecting him to
No,
be
he
better. So
hasn't. You know what, dude? I remember, my days back on the field at Ormond Place.
yeah.
I would put me ahead of Sam Darnold because of my stats over there. Okay. Number 9, Williams from the Chicago Bears.
Caleb Williams. Wow. Okay, go ahead.
Number 10, Penix.
Oh,
from
Mike
the,
Penix, okay.
Number 11, Drake May. Here's another fella that ain't played a game. Danny Dimes is not on this list, Frankie.
No, Richardson made the list as a starter. Go ahead.
12, J.J. McCarthy.
Again, a little surprising. Okay, go ahead.
Bryce Young. I've been waiting for this since I made the list. Okay. Number 14, Bo Nix. Bo Nix. He didn't even crack the 500 line.
Wow.
Number 15, Tua. Number 16, Dak. Number 17, Trevor Lawrence. When are we going to call this guy a bust?
Surprise? Yeah, you know what? He's a bust. There's no doubt about it. Number 1 pick in the draft. The way he's played, yeah, I agree. Who was before Trevor Lawrence? Dak. I'm surprised Dak is that low on the list. I would thought he'd
I'm
be
not.
fired.
He has no playoff success.
I agree with you, but I'm just saying people tend to put him higher up on things.
It's the next bunch of people some of the next bunch of people that we're going to mention that you're going to be like, wow, they finished higher than him. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 18, Kyler Murray.
Wow.
Number 19, CJ Stroud.
Okay.
Number 20, here's a big shocker, Baker Mayfield.
Wow. Baker's moved up. Okay.
Yeah. Well, moved up or never moved up. He's number 20 on a list of 32 men.
Well, again, he's almost in the top 10.
No, almost, but he's also
again,
20 from the bottom.
I got it, but a couple of years ago he would have been in that Anthony Richardson category.
Yeah. Number 21, Jordan Love. Number 22, Brock Purdy. Number 23, Geno Smith.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Geno, well, let me ask you this question. Would you take Baker or Geno at this point in their careers? If you had to pick one of those two, I would take Baker too.
Baker.
Yeah, so why is Geno ahead of him, mate? I don't understand
Smith, well, listen, Baker Mayfield is 20, Geno Smith is 23, and they're separated by Jordan Love and Brock Purdy. So it's not like
I think to me, next to Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy's the second most overrated quarterback in the league. But that's
and not for nothing, Geno Smith is 35, 36 years old. How much longer is he going to be able to play?
No, you're right. You're right.
Next after Geno Smith, Jared Goff.
Okay.
All right. Next after that, Herbert.
Nah, Goff belongs ahead of Justin Herbert.
I agree. I think Goff also belongs ahead of the next guy, Stafford. I think Goff should be ahead of Stafford.
At this point in the career, 100%. Stafford, to me, is on his way out the door. Stafford's way too high on this list.
Everybody is like fawning all over him all of a
sudden. Yeah. To me, he had one great year.
Yeah. Well, no. Not for nothing. He had a lot of great statistical years in Detroit. Yeah, he only had one championship year with the Rams.
Yeah. Again, good solid career. And he's going to wind up being a Hall of Famer, even though I'm not sure he's a Hall of Famer. He's going to get there. But at this point, no, Jared Goff's a better quarterback than he is right now.
He's thrown for more yardage than an old New York City taxi has driven in his career because he played with Detroit and they were always behind.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, he was leading the league every year. When your team sucks and you're trying to come back, you have a tendency to throw the ball.
Yep. No, I got you.
After Mr. Stafford is Jaden Daniels.
See, now, how do you put Jaden Daniels on the list? I mean, I guess this is projected to this year. So, all right, go ahead. I mean, he had a good year last year.
Going in, I mean, listen, yes, he made it to the NFC Championship game in his first year, but all of a sudden now Washington is the next big thing that everybody's saying is going to be a great team. And that remains to be seen. Let's see what they do this year.
I agree.
Number 28, okay, and thank God after this we start getting into some reality.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts.
See,
Number
again, another guy's a little overrated for me, but go ahead.
Number 29, Josh Allen.
Okay, fair enough.
Number 30, Lamar Jackson.
See, matter of taste, I think Josh Allen's a better quarterback than Lamar, but go ahead.
I think he's the better overall quarterback.
I agree.
But Lamar Jackson, not for nothing, his team's always in the playoffs. They're always projected to go deep in the playoffs. Whether they do or not is another story. He always leads the league in something, and his throwing game has gotten a little bit better over the years.
Agreed.
Not much, but a little bit.
Better.
Number 31. I guess we don't have to go to 32 after this, but 31, Joe Burrow.
Oh, wow. That's shocking to me. So they have Burrow projected ahead of both Lamar and Josh Allen. Okay, and so I guess Patrick Mahomes is back on top again.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wouldn't have had a problem if that list said Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes. I think those four are interchangeable.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. You could go
Josh
with
Allen, I wouldn't have had a problem if Josh Allen made it number one on that list.
Yeah, see, to me, I think at this point, Allen's the best quarterback in the league. That's my opinion. Again, you can take Mahomes. He does a lot with nothing. The guy's been to fucking 100 Super Bowls. Lamar's won a couple of MVPs. Probably should have won the MVP again last year, first third. My problem with Lamar is he never wins in the playoffs. At least Josh Allen has some success in the playoffs. Joe Burrow,
it's got to be tired by the time the playoffs get there.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot of running around. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, but I mean, let's call it for what it is. There's a lot going on there, man, all year round. That's why he had to be the big sigh of relief when Derrick Henry came, and they were probably telling him too, now you need to throw the ball.
Yeah.
And you need to be good at throwing the ball, or we get rid of Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Actually, he just signed a 2-year deal with them.
Did he really? Oh, he had biggest contract for a running back, I think, right?
I don't know that, Tom, to be honest with you. I'd be lying.
I think it is, but it's not a terrible list. I know it's projected. I just, how Goff has played his way into the top 5 or 6 quarterbacks in the league right now.
I don't know about 5 or 6, but I would definitely say top 10.
I mean, but who? Okay, so we got our 4. Let's say, forget about the order, but we'll agree the top 4 quarterbacks are Burrow, Allen, Lamar, and Mahomes, right?
Yes.
There's your top 4. Whatever order you want them to be in, you could put them in. But to me, those are the 4 best quarterbacks in football at this moment.
Hard to disagree with that.
Okay, so who's the next guy? To me, it's Goff.
Let me get the list.
Yeah, to me, it's Goff. Who? To me, I don't.
You know what?
You can argue Jalen Hurts. I mean, I guess if you wanted to, but
to round out a top 10, okay, I would have to say, okay, Jalen Hurts. So that we have 5.
Yeah.
So we would need another 5 to make a top 10. Okay.
Yeah. So it's Goff.
Goff has to be in the top 10.
Justin Herbert, I guess you could put in that list.
I guess Stafford.
Okay, I won't argue that.
All right. Listen, Baker Mayfield has had some playoff success. He's not exactly a scrub.
But at that point, see, here's the problem now. We already got to a point now where we're stretching to find 10 guys, right?
Yeah, we are, but somebody has to be number 10.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm just saying is in years past, you would rattle off 10 guys and then have to start worrying about, like, okay, it was easy. Now you're kind of going, well, it could be Dak, it could be Jalen Hurts, it could be Baker. In years past, you would you'd be 2 Mannings, Roethlisberger, Breeze, Rodgers.
Those guys don't exist anymore.
I agree. That's my point. But to me, once you get past those first 4, okay, now you're into Trevor Lawrence. You're into Justin Herbert. To me, the next guy who's been the last 3-4 years taking his team to new levels, to me, is Jared Goff. He's already went to a Super Bowl. He's
definitely a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah, I think he falls into that 5-6 category to me at this point. I would say he's 5. If I was picking, he'd be my 5th quarterback in that group.
the rest of the list, I mean, Flacco at one time would have been a top 10 quarterback. Justin Fields was probably projected to be a top 10. He failed miserably.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, you probably could have put in your top 10.
Yeah, there's a good that. Yeah, at some point, sure.
Sam Darnold might have been at one point in time looked upon as a top 10, but
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No.
Williams from the Bears,
Caleb Williams, who
probably heading to be a top 10 quarterback.
oh, yes.
You know?
There's a little controversy about Caleb this offseason, but go ahead.
About what?
Caleb Williams, his father came out and said that he was trying to get out of being there, doesn't want to be a kid, that didn't want to be a Bear, and then he had to come out. Caleb Williams had to come out and say, no, that's not true.
It's one of those things that I never knew until I was reading something today at work, matter of fact, that the Chicago Bears are the only NFL franchise that has never had a quarterback throw for 4,000 yards.
I just saw that this week myself.
So do you want to go there as a quarterback?
Huh? No, obviously you're going. I don't know if it's, can you blame the weather? I mean, Cincinnati's just as cold. Green Bay's just as cold. And those guys are throwing for 4,000 yards over there. So
how about Chicago just always seems to suck?
Yeah.
Even when they're good, they don't maintain it.
Well, even when they were a great team, Jim McMahon wasn't a great quarterback.
No.
Jim Harbaugh wasn't a great quarterback when he quarterbacked.
Team were good.
Yeah, just they've going back in time, they've never, in my lifetime, who's the best Bear quarterback they've ever had?
Not Rex Grossman.
No, so you'd have to really cut, all these guys that wind up there for a year or two. I'm going to say right now, it's probably been Jim McMahon's probably been their best quarterback, and Jim McMahon wasn't a great professional quarterback.
The best. Well, you know what? Here we got Siri sitting here. Let's ask Siri. See what she says.
Okay, go ahead.
Siri, who is the best quarterback on the Chicago Bears?
Prior to the 2021 season, the Bears traded up in the 2021 NFL Draft to select quarterback Justin Fields 11th overall. This is from Wikipedia.
See that? They're wrong too.
Okay, I'm looking up. Hold on. I'm going to get the list.
We're not going to get anything from
the best Chicago Bears of all time ranker. So I have the list. All right, so they list Sid Luckman as the best Chicago Bears quarterback, 1939-1950.
Okay, so 1939 to 1950. So he spanned basically from before World War I, before World War II, to right before the Korean War.
That's correct.
Okay, so, there's people that weren't even alive now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Their number 2 quarterback of all time, according to this list, is Jim McMahon. Then Jay Cutler. Huh?
Can you give us a few more?
Yeah. So you go. Here's the top 3. Top 3 is Sid Luckman, Jim McMahon, Jay Cutler. Then it's Johnny Lujack, 1948 to 1951. George Blanda, Jim Harbaugh, Eric Kramer, Bobby Douglas, Kyle Orton. I mean, Ed Brown, Doug Flutie, who was there for 1 year, is number 11. Mitchell Trubisky is number 12.
Oh, my God.
Jack Concanon, Jim Miller, Mike Tomczak round out the top 15.
Mike Tomczak. I remember that name. Holy
Justin Fields is number 16 on the all-time Bears list, and he only played, looks like 1 year there. Steve Walsh, Dave Craig was there for a year. He's number 18. Bill Wade and Rex Grossman's number 20.
Jesus
so,
Christ.
I mean, this ain't the greatest list in the world.
No. So not for nothing. If he didn't want to go there, I don't know, man. I don't think I'd want to go there either, but I know that I would definitely take my father for a ride someplace. And it'd be like, I got bad news for you.
Yeah. This is kind of a crazy list.
You're getting a shot, but I'll let you pick where it's going to go.
Yeah.
But you're definitely getting a shot.
Oh, my God. This is a terrible list. Holy cow.
Yeah, it's amazing when you and most of those guys were played for them before the Super Bowl era. No?
image.
What happened there?
Yeah, I don't know. My computer froze up, so I had to close it up and then come back. So I don't know why. I don't know what happened. Don't ask me. I don't.
Yes, Frank, he did freeze.
Yeah, I did. But yeah, so that's your list of. I mean, realistically, I mean, I get, you know, Sid Luckman, 1939 to 1950 is a little before my time. So, do you notice here on the screen? Do you see all these little comments showing up here?
Yes, yes.
Is that annoying? Because I could take it away.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that's where it was showing up. But yeah, so that's Tom. You look like you were sucking. Thanks,
Oh,
Frank.
boy.
Right? Much appreciated, Frank. Thanks a lot. But so yeah,
One thing,
I would.
Frank, you're right now. Your words could be on the screen,
Yeah.
but Tommy could talk and be heard. So be careful.
So let me ask you this question: is the Chicago Bears, in your opinion,
You put it on the bottom of the screen too.
is the Chicago Bears the worst place to land if you were going to play quarterback in the NFL?
Oh, dude, there's so many bad places.
Well,
It's
what's let me ask you? All right, so let's Frankie, you jump in on this one. What if you were a quarterback in the NFL draft next year, and they say, what's the one team you don't want to go play for?
the Jets, the Browns.
No, I just want one. Like, to me, it's the land where quarterbacks go to die. I mean, the Browns to me are the worst. I mean, I think Chicago's right behind them, but the Browns. When's the last time the Browns have taken the number one pick in the draft in quarterbacks? It's got to be 10 or 11 of them in the last 20 years, and not one of them has worked out.
No, they haven't. No, they have not.
No, but Frank, you know what? I agree, but I would say this: if you're the Jets, you could at least say you had Namath, you had Kenny O'Brien, had a good career. You know, you had. I'm only talking about guys you drafted, not guys that you traded for or got free agency like Testaverde. You know, Pennington was a good quarterback. He had a bad bump shoulder, so I can give you
like a wiffle ball.
Yeah, but I would tell you the Jets have had at least 3 solid quarterbacks in their career, at least 3.
You know
So
what? I'm going to go on a bit of a list to say I think they had a little bit more. They didn't have people to develop them. You had Mark Sanchez, Kenny O'Brien,
Yep.
Pennington.
Yep.
Okay, we'll never know exactly what Donald could have done. I mean, he did go to another team and had a good year.
Sure.
I would say Zach Wilson was a total bust.
I would agree with that.
You know, and you know, as far as the Jets go, they never had. Pat Ryan was a backup, though, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, these are guys that weren't that bad. They made the playoffs once in a while.
Let me tell you something. Kenny O'Brien had a decent career. I don't know if he had an AFC Championship game, but he had a good, solid couple of seasons for the Jets. More than that, Pennington had some good times for the Jets.
And
Sanchez went to 2 AFC Championship games. So come on, I mean that's
and then some of the quarterbacks that they did have, Boomer Esiason.
Yeah.
You know,
Testaverde.
All experience, Testaverde, who was a great quarterback for them at the time.
Yeah.
Who's the guy that they got from fucking Pittsburgh, who was in the Super Bowl one year, went to the Jets, and then disappeared?
Oh yeah.
Neil O'Donnell.
Neil O'Donnell. Yep. Yeah.
You know.
So for me, I wouldn't put the Jets in the same category as the Browns or look at the Bears. I mean, Jimmy Nantz, the second best quarter, huh?
I know that the Pro Bowl is a farce, but when was the last Jet quarterback that went to the Pro Bowl or led the league in an offensive statistic?
That's a great question. Don't know the answer to that one. Yeah,
I don't think Joe Namath in '67.
I don't even think Namath. I mean, you look at Namath's stats; they were never great. I mean,
Namath was the first player in the NFL to crack 4,000 yards.
Yeah, so he may lead the league in that. Maybe I don't even know if there was a Pro Bowl game back then. Maybe all pros. I'd have to look at that. That's a great question.
I don't know, but he might have been the only one that did anything.
Kenny O'Brien, I bet you went to the Pro Bowl a few times.
He did.
Kenny O'Brien. He had 86 and I think 85, 86, 87. He had some really good years on those teams.
He used to get fucking destroyed back then.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing, but he was a solid. You know, they got ridiculed for taking him, Of course, they passed up on Namath. A lot of teams did, but Ken O'Brien was a solid quarterback, probably better than solid. He was a really good quarterback. I like Kenny O'Brien as a quarterback.
Kenny O'Brien now like sits out in his little kitchen nook, the sun shining on him in the morning, and then he must just talk. Oh my God, help me! Have flashbacks of getting chased.
Oh, he's one of those. Kenny O'Brien. He walks in the house, the door slams behind him. He slides and jumps under the bed.
Yeah, he definitely slides forward. Without a doubt.
Yeah. So
don't hit my head. Don't hit my head.
Yeah, to me, the Bears, the Browns. I mean, those are probably the two worst places to ever wind up as a quarterback in this league. I mean, I'm trying to think of some of the other teams that
Carolina.
Well, I mean, they're a fairly new team, but even Carolina had some good years where they had some decent quarterbacks.
Yeah, but most of the time they didn't. He
was part of that '83 draft with
the Dolphins went through their share of quarterbacks too, but that doesn't get much.
No, but I mean,
retired. That don't get much notice though.
Yeah, I would say, Detroit again. I mean, there's a pick. There's a lot of guys, the teams to pick. I mean, who's the best Detroit quarterback? I mean, obviously, Stafford's had a good career. Goff's had a good career now, but again, these guys
at this point in time.
Trying to think they had Eric Kramer. I mean, Gary Danielson back in the day was there. Eric Hipple. I'm trying to think of some of the other guys who played for them. So I mean, listen, there are a lot of teams, and you brought the Dolphins up, and it's not a bad thought that Miami's not had a tremendous track record since Marino left with quarterbacks. I mean, before that, you had Greasy, and then there was a guy in between who was still a good quarterback. They had Don Strock, who wasn't bad.
Not Jay Feely. What was his name? His name Jay something, right?
Jay Cutler?
No. He wasn't. He was on the Dolphins, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he spent a minute there. I almost.
Yeah, but he was. This guy was more closer to Marino and stuff.
Now the Cards had. Listen, back in the day, you're talking about Jim Hart, Neil Lomax. I mean, they had David Woodley was a good quarterback. That's the guy I was thinking of. Yes, Woodley. And then, you had Marino. After that, it gets a little funky for them. But, I'm saying I'm thinking of teams. I mean, you'd have to go back to the Browns, have to go back to Bernie Kosar and Jim Sipe would be the only ones I could think of. Brian Sipe. Were only two decent Brown quarterbacks. I mean, other one, you want to go back to Otto Graham, who some people think was the greatest quarterback ever to play, although he played before the Super Bowl era, so it didn't exist, as we know here. But no, I mean, I'm going to go Browns or I'm going to go Bears. So look at that the Bear list. I mean, that's ridiculous. That might be one of the most ridiculous lists I've ever seen for a list of quarterbacks. So, yeah, that's interesting. If you're Caleb Williams and you hear you going to the Bears, it's like, no, not the Bears. Please, not the Bears.
Jay Fiedler.
Jay Fiedler.
That's the name I was thinking of.
Okay. Yes, I remember that game.
But man, after that was a who's who of Jesus Christ. And Cutler only had 1 year with the Dolphins.
Yes. Yeah, he was one of those guys bounced all over the place for a couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Broncos bad quarterbacks. Boy, oh boy. Craig Morton back in the day wasn't pretty back in the 70s. Then they got lucky with Elway for forever. I know he wasn't drafted, but it's close enough.
Listen, the Broncos went through a lot of bad people, and what do you call it? John Elway had a hand in that, man. He just could not find a replacement, for himself and for fucking. I know he went to the Super Bowl. He went to several Super Bowls.
Went to 5 of them, right?
Yeah, and he only walked out of there with 2 wins.
Yeah.
All the times he went, but at least he made it there.
Yeah, no, I mean
he wasn't able to find a replacement to leave that team in a good position. That's for sure. Nobody was able to.
Yeah. I mean, that's again. I'm looking for hellholes, and again, the Bears are a hellhole. Detroit's close to being a hellhole, but they did have Stafford. They've gotten Goff. They've had a few decent quarterbacks along the way.
They've never had a quarterback lead them out of the hellhole, bro.
No, I agree. But
never once.
To me,
and I think that the Detroit Lions are more of a team than Jared Goff leading them out of the hole.
Oh, I agree. I agree. They take two great running backs. I mean, that's a good defense. Yeah, I agree. But I'll give Goff a little more credit than you probably will. But listen, yeah. Again, I think if you're getting drafted next year, the last thing you want to hear now picking are the Chicago Bears. I think that's one of the last teams you want to hear if you're a quarterback.
Well, if you were an NFL player,
Yep.
and you're in the draft,
Yep.
okay, and it's the first round, okay, what team is it that you don't want to hear picking your name?
So doesn't matter what position I play.
You're just no. I'll give you. You're a defensive football player.
Okay.
So I'll give you that much. You're a defensive player. All right. Whatever, not important. You're just a defensive player. What team is it that you do not want to hear?
Washington Commanders.
Really? Why?
Can't play for the Washington Commanders. Now, if they said the Washington Redskins, I take it off my list. But I can't play for the Washington Commanders at this point in time. So I just can't do it.
I unfortunately I have too many teams, but one of them I would definitely say the Carolina Panthers.
That's a tough one to play.
I wouldn't want to go there. Jacksonville is not a place that I'm looking to go.
No, you're right. That is probably the right one to say. You know what you want to do is obviously you want to play. Listen, if I could say I want to play one game for one team, it would probably be the Green Bay Packers because I'd want to play at Lambeau Field. If I could play one game for one team, it's that because I'd love to run out the tunnel and be in Lambeau Field for one game and know that I'm walking on the same field as Lombardi and Starr and Jimmy Taylor and that crowd. So for me, that would be the one place I would want to play a football game in.
Yeah, I see that. But you know what? That's too easy. That's like saying, you play baseball and if you could play one game, it's got to be at Yankee Stadium or Fenway Park.
Well, I mean, it's about the history of the team. It's about like I wouldn't as a player playing for Chicago Bears. I mean, Dick Butkus, Gale Sayers. I mean that Soldier Field. That's historic. But it's the fan base that you're looking for. It's that whole piece of history. Like you said it. Do you really want to get drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Carolina Panthers or the Arizona Cardinals? No one wants to play for those teams.
I wouldn't have a problem going to the Cardinals.
Why?
I just wouldn't have a problem going to the Cardinals. I just don't think that I would have a problem going to the Cardinals. I would rather go to the Cardinals than Jacksonville or Carolina. I mean, there's a lot. I wouldn't want to go to the Patriots for obvious reasons.
Seahawks would be one I wouldn't want to go to.
Seahawks, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind because like the fan base is devout, man.
Yes, that again. If
I'll say that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. If you want to go someplace that's loud every Sunday, that's the place. That's one of the places you want to go. Yeah.
Even the Jets. The Jets suck, but when the game starts, there's a lot of people there.
Oh no, yeah.
They're gone by the second quarter, but there's a lot of people.
I was going to say it's an empty parking lot at halftime.
Yeah,
the first half's pretty good.
Yeah, Giants, same thing. I mean, I don't watch enough Giant game to say.
But the Giants aren't a raucous crowd. Like when you go to a Giant game, it's very executive. It's very quiet. I mean, the fan base loves the Giants. Don't get me but it's not. It's never other than 86, 2000 against the Vikings. I was there for that playoff game where they killed the Vikings 41-0. The place was rocking. It's not that you want to go to a place where the fan bases are just completely insane. That's why I love Green Bay. I think you're right with Seattle. I think that's not a bad one. Yeah, you're right. Forget there is an older fan base. So, and to be honest with you, especially the last 10 years or maybe more, Giant fans seem to sell their tickets to the outsiders so much. It's half the stadium's full of Cowboy fans or whoever the other team is. So
if the Giants started to win,
yep,
that wouldn't have happened. That wouldn't happen.
I don't know about that, but yeah, it would be less
about it because then you'll see how fast everybody's a Giant fan.
Yeah, that's
why are they selling the tickets? They're selling the tickets because when the Redskins this year at least the Redskins come to town, it was a different story. But you got the Eagles in the Super Bowl twice in the last 5 years or something
Yep.
like that.
Yeah.
You
First
know,
three, yeah.
Super Bowl wins, and the Cowboys are the Cowboys. Cowboy fans are always going to find ways to see their their team
Yeah.
win.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
Not win, play.
Play.
Yeah,
no, I agree with you. What would be another good place to play would be Pittsburgh. I know it's too cold, but that's
the cold has nothing to do with the weather. Has nothing to do with it, really. It's football. You want it to be cold, but there's a lot of tradition there.
That's my point. Yeah. So if I was getting drafted into the league, I would love to play for one of the older franchises, whether it's Pittsburgh or Green Bay, Detroit. Something where there's a lot of tradition, good or bad. But that would be something for me. So that's an interesting conversation. So, but listen, we're creeping up on 9:00. We've managed to get through another show. I appreciate all you guys, especially Frankie out there listening and hanging with us. We've had Tony Gunn and Frank Jeffrey pop up, and Paul D'Agostino, and a bunch of others who have got me offline here. So nice to see everybody. And again, guys, this Jeff, do you know what time you're going on this Saturday?
You know what, Tom? I think it's 2:00. Well, actually, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to 25 Missions is supposed to play as well as Mad.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I believe we go on at 2:00, depending on the weather. There is a chance that it's going to get canceled.
Okay.
Because of the weather, but here's hoping it don't. We'll see what happens.
All right. So if you're on Staten Island, you go out to it's at the Trotters again, right?
Yes.
So you go out to the Trotters.
After the show, I'm going to tell them I'm never playing there again. Every time we go to play there, there's a problem.
Yeah, rain, wind.
There was a windstorm. There was a girl who's come to watch us play several times. Her name is Tammy. I don't want to use her last name. She seems cool. She definitely supports the band, which is nice of her.
Sure.
Considering that we need all the support we could get, and the tent that they put over us started to blow away.
Oh, really?
She came running over, and she held the tent.
Really?
Yeah, which was very nice of her, of course. And she was one of the only ones that actually did that and was cool of her. And other people helped move the tent, and she was still there holding the tent for us. So I want to thank her for that. I don't know if she watches the show or not, but thank you, Tammy, for making sure we didn't blow away.
Here you go. I'll give you a funny one real quick. So I go to one of my jobs this week, and one of my guys had asked me for a letter to get a fire department certificate. Right, it's the Fire Watch. You have to. Everything's a license nowadays. So I gave him the letter. Didn't hear anything. Weeks, months, whatever it is. I haven't seen the guy in a while. So I went on the job the other day, and he goes, "I went to the fire department on Metro Tech to get my license." I said, "Oh, good. Everything went okay." Yeah. He said when I showed the guy at the desk my letter, he goes, "Oh, I know that guy. I watch his podcast every week."
Really?
Yeah. And so the guy said, "I don't know." Now this guy the guy who works for me had no idea I do this. So when he came back, he goes, "You do a podcast?" I said, "Yeah, for the last 10 years, every Thursday night." He said, "Yeah, this guy says he watches you every week."
Really? Well, man, I would love if he chimes in and says, "Oh, man."
I don't know what it is, but if you work at FDNY at Metro Tech and you told Fernando that you watched the show, you watched the show. Please let us know who you are. We'd like to say thank you. So, but
man, that's very cool, man.
That's a funny story. I don't know how you found us, or I don't know, but it was very nice to hear that there are other people besides Frank Catalano listening in.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah. So, but all right. So, guys, if you're out there this weekend and the weather holds up, check the social media. Check the Trotters, I guess, their websites or social media. And they'll let you
have a website, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so go to Jeff or 25 Missions. That's definitely a great show. Those guys are great. And see, Jeff, you're doing double duty then, right? You have both bands playing?
Yeah.
So, even better.
Mad, and then the 180s.
Oh, so do yourselves a favor. I would say go see Mad no matter what, but if you get a chance to see Mad and 25 Missions, the Grazianos are tremendous people, and it's a good band. So make sure you check them out. Go out and see Jeff this weekend again. He's going to be out and about for a lot this summer, I think. It's got at least a few more shows out there. We'll get you more as we get closer.
Yeah, we got a couple more going on.
All right. Well, again, we're cruising up on our 11th year anniversary coming up in July, which will go right in hand with the opening of the NFL training camps. So that's a month away. It's yeah, I'm sorry, it's 2 months away. So we got another month of football. Then they go dark for part of June and a good part of July, and then next thing you know, folks, we'll be in the middle of summer and getting football started up again. So there'll be a lot more football talk coming in the next few weeks. In the meantime, we're going to call it a night. I'm going to go catch the second half of the Knick game, and we'll take it from there. So, Jeff, you got anything you want to end with?
No, man. Right now, the Knicks are winning, by the way, 52-42 with a minute 54 left in the second quarter. So,
All right. So,
hey, listen, I would love nothing more than to see the Knicks make it. And, are they overplaying? Who knows? Are they underplaying? Who knows? It would just be nice to see them fucking win and get someplace.
100%. Yep. Couldn't agree with you more. So I'll go catch the second half of the Knick game. And in the meantime, guys, I want to thank you all for tuning in and listening to Jeff and I. And if you're out there and you're listening, sometimes throw up, you're right, Frankie, throw a little something up on the screen so we know you're out there. But in the meantime, I would ask that you guys have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week, a great weekend, and then a great next week. Please be careful with the weather. And make sure you come back next Thursday night when Jeff and I get together and do this all over again. So for Jeff, myself, and everybody here at Hard Rocket Sports, we say thank you. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you next Thursday night. Have fair. I'll talk to you off the air.
You got it, man.
All right. Good night.
Later.